NFC East, I want to do because I think that obviously everybody's going to go Commanders. Here's the surprise team, but and people don't understand how hard this is for me to do because I pretty much dislike everything that has to do with this franchise most of the time. But the Cowboys are a very obvious choice here to be a surprise division winner, right? I mean, we're all sitting here and being like, oh, this team doesn't have anything and they lost this, they lost that. The Cowboys have drafted extraordinarily well over the
Yep.
last decade plus. Dak Prescott comes back healthy. You do need to upgrade a little bit, and I think that there's probably still some room. I mean, Jerry Jones keeps saying something big is in the works, and he
Yeah.
probably is just lying to sell season tickets. But let's just say that they added Tyreek Hill, or they added, what if they added one of the Packers guys that's going to kind of be part of the overflow on that depth chart, right? Because Green Bay has like what, 6 really good
15
wide receivers now,
Yeah.
So what if they added one of those guys?
Like
All
Christian
of a
Watson or someone like
Yeah,
that.
like what if they got Christian Watson next to CeeDee Lamb? Does that all of a sudden make you think like, I don't know?
Yeah,
Like
I like their draft too. I mean,
I mean, I think they had one of the if Revel stays healthy,
I mean,
he's the best cornerback in that draft.
people don't learn their lesson on this. If you have a good offensive line, you're probably going to be competitive. You
Right.
know, like you're probably going to be able to go in and compete on a week to week and month to month basis in the NFL. And I look at their offensive line and, like Tyler Booker, first round pick at left tackle. We see what he becomes. Tyler Smith, one of the best guards in football. They add Tyler Booker at the other guard. Cooper Beebe as center. Like it's just they've continued to invest into those positions. And you lose DeMarcus Lawrence, but you bring in Donovan Ezeraku to be like your secondary pass rusher opposite Micah Parsons. And Ezeraku, while he isn't like a prototype defensive end, everything I heard about him was like great kid, should be ready to go the minute he walks into the NFL. And is he ever going to have 15 sacks? Maybe not, but he's going to be a productive player. Ravel, like he's like, to me, like Ravel is one of the most intriguing guys in the draft because he might have been like the 15th overall pick if he wasn't hurt.
I
So I
agree.
just like look at like the guys they had. I loved watching Jaden Blue from Texas in the playoffs. Like I look at them and I like if you think the Commanders are going to just take a natural step back because like last year was like a lot of things went right for them and there's like some level of regression there. I mean, you could say the reverse about Dallas too. And as much crap as Dallas took for the way they played last year, so many things went wrong. You know what I mean?
A
Like,
lot of things went wrong, and they still played tough, and they still there was they beat the Commanders at the end toward the end of last year, right? With Cooper Rush in overtime, didn't they?
yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, look, like how many games did Dak play last year? And they still went 7-10. He played in. Uh, Dak played 8 games last year. They were 3-5 with him. They were 4-5 without him.
So look at this. So look at the tail end of last season. They beat the Commanders 34-26 at the end of the year. They beat the Giants by a touchdown with Cooper Rush. They lost to the red hot Bengals by a touchdown. They beat the Panthers, who were improving. They beat the Buccaneers by 2.
Yeah.
And then they lost to Washington by 4 points in the season finale. That to me shows whatever. If you're one of these like stock people and you're like kind of reading the granular stuff underneath it, it's like, okay, this team is still actually really good and they had a great draft. And if Revel stays healthy, he's a top 10 corner, top 12 corner, whatever you want to call him. And all of a sudden this team doesn't look so bad and whatever. I mean, we have to convince ourselves of so many different things, but and Brian Schottenheimer at the top of this pyramid, but
I mean, that's the question is like, what does it look like with Shoddy now? The head coach and the guy with the trigger full time now on offense, right? And Matt Eberflus running the defense. Is that an upgrade over Mike Zimmer? We'll see. He was a really good defensive coordinator in Indianapolis, so we've seen him in that role before and excel in that role before. And like it's a lot of change, but I could see them surprising some people for sure.
Clayton Adams to OC. I think that was sneaky. One of the hires of the offseason.
I
I don't.
love moves like that because that's
I do
another
too.
investment back into the offensive line and the
I
run
think
game.
so.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's a really smart way to do it for them for sure. It's sort of like Frank Smith,
Yep.
in Miami with Mike McDaniel. I think Chris Furster to some degree is that guy
Sure.
for Kyle Shanahan, even though he doesn't have the title in San Francisco. Like I I think that's a move that a lot of smart teams have made where there's like, okay, like we have our play callers, our head coach. Now let's like put like a guy who's a boss as a run game coach as our offensive coordinator and go.